Okay, so before today, I'm gonna plan on us spending most of the time just practicing, but we're gonna focus on one specific kind of question. Well, not one, but one branch of questions. You know, we've talked about those two different categories of questions. About 35, 40 of them are going to be really easy, and the rest of them are going to be a little bit trickier. It's going to take you longer, pretty much. You're going to have to think a little harder. And we're going to focus on how to attack those and different strategies to do. But before that, I want to give you one general principle that I should have mentioned week one, but I got caught up in punctuation. And it's called the economy rule. I'm sure you guys have read this somewhere in the textbooks. The ACT 36 book, I know, talks about this rule as well. And it's, to me, the most important underlying principle in all of this test. If you're going to learn anything from me, I would take this. This is literally the most important thing. And what I love about it is the sentence itself, the rule itself follows the rule, which is really cool. I kind of like it. And the rule is just that less is more. Now, the point of the rule is that there's a lot of the times on the test, there's going to be two answers, maybe even more, that both make sense, that both could be correct, that as a writer, maybe you could use both of those. But remember, when you're on the ACT, this is not right. When you're on the ACT English test, you're not a writer, you're not a reader, you're not reading for enjoyment, you're reading as an editor. So you're trying to make whatever this author is saying better and more clear to the reader. And in general, if you can say something in less words, why would you waste words? So always try to say stuff. If it's not losing meaning and you can say it in less words, use less words. So pretty much, like I know maybe I've mentioned in this class before that I talk about this never repeat rule that like really fits pretty well into this, that if you're going to say two words that mean the same thing, what's the point? Like less is always more on the ACT English. I don't know if it works like that in real life, but on this test, consistency and just the more economical choice is going to be correct most of the time. Okay, and so the type of question we're going to focus on today is called a top-heavy question. And what that means is there's some sort of pre in the question. So like when you go normally to an English test, half of the questions, give or take, are, I guess nowadays, more, but they're not going to have any writing before the question. It's just going to say question 43, and it's going to give you A, B, C, D. There's nothing written there. Those ones are intended to be easier, that you're just looking for punctuation or grammar or consistency or something. Versus a top-heavy question is going to have some sort of, given that blah, blah, blah is true, which one, whatever. There's going to be words there, and it's going to ask you a question rather than just pick the right one. So those are the ones we're going to focus on, and there's a lot of different categories of those. You can break them into probably 4 different categories, but I think in general that's kind of a waste of time to talk about the different kinds of questions and memorize that kind of stuff. I just care that you know how to answer them. So as we go through, we're going to find these questions, and we're going to write down kind of strategies on how to answer them. And then we'll come together after each passage we do and discuss how to answer them, all of the top-heavy questions, how they work, all that kind of stuff. So, does anyone remember what the heck test we did last time? Because I just got a new book, so I don't know what test we did and like where we stopped. I have no idea. Did we do the one on... Oh, I guess we have different books too, don't we? God, that's going to be tricky. Okay. Page 736, did we do that one? For people with the same book. I don't know.
Are you looking for the one we already did, or?
If this one's not done, then great. But is it
I don't have that book.
I don't think precedence of those.
the newest one? You have the newest one?
Yes.
All right. Sick. Is that one done already or no?
Nope.
No? What's the first passage called?
From salad to symphony.
Okay, that's what we're looking for. Will you guys sort through the first... I'm sorry to make you do this, but...
Well.
Just look for the beginning. It's going to be the first passage of something.
The beginning?
Like the first
Like the
passage of an
first
English
English.
test, yeah.
Oh, this was the one we did.
Oh, you found the one we did? Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe it's the one after that then, because I think I flipped a little further. This is really unfortunate that we have different
Yeah, I
books.
found one we did.
You found the one we did? Okay. Skip to the next one. What is this one called?
I found it.
Got it?
866. It's from Salad Symphony.
All right. Lovely. That's awesome. Okay. This will be a fun activity we can do before every class. We'll do like a scavenger hunt, so you can find it first. Okay. And in general, are we good with timing? Like normally we finish in 9 minutes in here, right? Yeah? Okay. So I'll just leave it at 9 minutes, and then at the end we'll come together and talk about these top-heavy questions that we find in this specific passage. And then we'll come together and talk about
What page did you say this on the new book?
on the new. What'd you say it was?
I have the old book.
Okay, the new book is 736. From Salad to Symphony is the passage we're looking for. Hoping she found it. Okay. All right. Well, are you guys online people? Are you guys ready? Okay, someone just sent me a thumbs up. We're good. All right. I will start your time now.
Just one passage, right?
Yep, just one. You made it with a minute to spare. You had plenty of time. I'm sorry, I kind of forgot. You guys probably didn't get a break because he's like hung around and talked to you guys for a while. If anybody else like needs to go to the bathroom, it's cool.
I'm just thinking if you spelled that right.
Is that spelled right? I don't even know.
Everything up there is spelled
All right, bless.
I couldn't tell Bam was spelled right.
Yeah, no, I was nervous writing it. I was like, bro, please don't tell me I did. I was worried about economy too.
What did he keep spelling wrong last time, Jay?
Separate.
Oh no, I noticed as soon as I watched it back in the car because I was like, I know I spelled that wrong.
It was like so many times that you spelled it
Oh,
wrong.
it was,
And you kept doing it, so I just
And
felt bad for calling it out.
let me find it.
Possess.
Possess was wrong too. I remember that. Hey, if it's wrong, just tell me. I'd rather have you guys just tell me. All right, that's 9 minutes, by the way.
What a great alarm sound.
All right, isn't it? It's lovely. Okay, you guys ready to hear the answers?
Comas, yeah.
Comas. I spelled that wrong too.
Oh yeah.
That's crazy. All right, I'm glad it's coming out now. All right, you guys ready for the answers? All right, number 1 was C. Number 2 was H. Number 3 was D. Number 4 was G. Number 5 was D. Number 6 was J. Number 7 was B. Number 8 was H. Number 9 was C. 10 F. 11 A. 12 J. 13 D. 14 H. And 15 B. Yeah, that was a hard one. That was a hard one. But, all right. So let's talk about these top-heavy questions, all of them first, and then we'll discuss any other questions you guys have. So number 2 is the first one that's top-heavy. And you see I already wrote it up there, but this is the rule I want you to remember when you have questions like this. It's going to tell you which of these choices, most of the time it's going to say given that all are true, because sometimes they'll just add new random information. But so normally they have to tell you that it's all true. But you're going to use, I can't emphasize this enough, even when you're reading, use the pencil. You have an entire memory aid in your hand. And it's funny, I see sometimes people just don't eliminate answers, they don't underline anything, and just circle the right answer and then bubble it. You have so much capability in your hand that you should be using it to help you. Because right now it might seem really easy to pick a correct answer, but when you're in the test room and there's pressure to do well and there's pages flipping all over the room and you can hear all that kind of stuff and you're under time pressure, you might slip up on stuff that you're normally really, really good at. So it's important to make things easier, however you can make things easier. Specifically with these kind of questions, I would underline what the command is. It's going to tell you to look for not the most correct answer, but the most something. So here I would underline which choice best maintains the pattern established. That's something. So we want to maintain the pattern in the 2 previous examples. So it gives you 2 previous examples and it wants you to maintain that pattern. You're not looking for what's most correct here, you're looking for what maintains the pattern. When it gives you something like this, forget everything that you've learned before and just focus on what it's asking you. So sometimes it might tell you like, okay, which one is the most specific? Don't think about anything other than which one's the most specific. Or like which one is whatever. It's going to give you some sort of command. Focus on the command, don't focus on what's correct. So here the one that follows the 2 previous examples would be letter H. Does anyone need more explanation on why that one follows? We get that, right? Okay, yeah. So with this specific kind of top-heavy question, use the pencil, underline the command, and then go find it. That's the best way to answer ones like this. Quick note on, we're going to talk about 2 of these that aren't top-heavy, but they're kind of important. Number 5, it's a great example of what we just talked about, this economy rule. A lot of those are fine, but D, it just uses like the least amount of words. So D is the correct answer. So you don't really have to think a lot. If the shortest answer makes sense, then normally it's that one. And also number 9 is kind of tricky. Did you guys get that one right?
Yeah,
That was a tricky one, but you guys know the difference, effect and effect?
No.
I-
Can you explain that?
Yeah, okay. We'll talk about that. The way I remember it, the book has this stupid long explanation that's really confusing. When you think of effect with an E, think of cause and effect. So like, you're gonna have some sort of cause and it's gonna cause some sort of effect. For something to be affected, that's with an A. So like, if you guys being really disruptive and talking is affecting me, that would be with an A. But like, oh, if I'm teaching, so the effect is that you guys are doing really good, that would be with an E. Does that make sense? Kind of. So like, I don't really have an exact book definition for the difference, but whenever you think of effect, think of the word cause with it. There's got to be some sort of cause. Versus affect is like some sort of, something's happening to someone. But yeah, so that one, that's why it's with an A. It's affecting the quality of sounds, that would be with an A. Does that make sense? All right. 12. So 12 is another top-heavy question, and these ones are known as organizational. They're going to try to move stuff around. They're going to try to, all this kind of good stuff. And the trick with this one is you want to look for cues. You can, normally it's okay if you just went through all the answer choices and tried them all, but sometimes that's really inefficient and slow. So the best strategy is to look for cues. Now what I mean by that, let's look in this example specifically. There's 3 sentences we're trying to put in the correct order, right? I'll tell you how I got it. So I went through, and I didn't read the whole thing obviously because we're not going to read every word of this, just to be clear. But I saw sentence 3 ends with water content. We're talking about some sort of water content. And in sentence 1 here, may lose much of its water content. So now, sentence 3 introduced what water content is. Sentence 1 is elaborating on. So it would be really weird for sentence 1 to come before sentence 3. So I went to the answer choices. Which ones have sentence 3 come before sentence 1? Oh, perfect. There's only one. So then, from there, I was able to pick. But in general, you want to look for some sort of little cue like that, and it might be even easier than that. That one, I guess, was kind of hard. But sometimes it might even say something like firstly this, and then you'll have something that says lastly this. Well, obviously the one that says firstly is going to come first. So look for little cues like that to put stuff in order. And organizational questions don't always have to come in forms of sentences. Sometimes they'll say paragraphs. So like, we had one in the other class that there was like a paragraph that was entirely misplaced and should have been put somewhere else. Or like maybe it's a word in a sentence that's put in the wrong spot. So it's going to give you all kinds of different stuff, but in general, the easiest way to solve them is just to look for cues. Okay. You also have 14 and 15 are also top-heavy questions. 14 is a really, really basic one that you're going to see like all the time. It's so popular. And the trick with a one like 14 is... Oh god, hold on. I can get this. Nobody help. Eliminate. Is that right? Alright.
Wait. That's right.
Is that right? God, that was a tricky one. Alright. Right away, you want to eliminate yes or no, or kept or deleted, or something like that. So the form of these, normally the question is going to say yes because, no because, no because. And right away, I'm hoping most of us could figure out it's supposed to be kept or deleted, or yes or no. If you know that right away, eliminate the other two. Don't waste your time. Don't read those explanations. Because what they try to do is, if the correct answer is no, they're going to have one of them that says yes, but has a really good explanation. So sometimes people can get caught up like that. But if you know if it's yes or no, just get rid of the other two. Just get rid of the other two. And the other part that goes with this, that kind of applies broader to kind of all of the tests, but mostly these questions, is guess first. Before you even look at the answer choices, before you read those explanations, before you read the words after because, guess. So a lot of the times you'll be able to tell like, oh no, this shouldn't go here because it doesn't fit with the rest of the paragraph. Right there, you already have formulated some sort of answer and you've guessed first. Now when you go and look at it, one of those answers is going to be similar to your guess. right away, you don't even have to look at the other one. You pick the one most similar. So you're not going to get confused by all this wordy stuff that they're going to try to trick you. So here specifically on number 14, it was pretty clear that, I'm hoping everybody realized it was pretty clear that the answer was no. This is just not really, and when I read the sentence and I was like, at this point, I guess this is a bad place to add this because it's the end. It's the end of the essay, and this is like kind of introducing a new topic that isn't really that relevant. So it's kind of like, why would I end something on like a completely new idea? So now I go and look at the answers. Okay, letter H says, it provides information about the process of creating instruments that's not relevant at this point in the essay. That's pretty similar to what I said. How about J? Conflicts with the idea that brothers... Okay, well, that's not really important. So I would pick H because that's really similar to what I guessed first. Does that sort of make sense? So that's the power of guessing first. It's really nice. It can save you a lot of time, and it's going to help you be a lot more accurate. 15 is another organizational question. I hope this one's pretty self-explanatory. I don't have like a special strategy for this one. You just plug in the sentence at all the different points and then figure out which one works the best. And most of the time you can look for cues here too of how it can fit and how it's going to fit the best, but there's not really like a special thing for that one. In general, you just got to find it. But okay. Did anybody have any other questions on that passage? No? Online, you guys good? All right. I'm going to assume that means that... Okay, yes. Thumbs up emojis. Good. Okay. We'll go to the next one now. And this time when you see a top-heavy... Let's see. Is there one? There's like two. But, okay, yeah. If the top-heavy questions fit anything that we've talked about, try applying these strategies and see if that helps you save time or hopefully be more accurate as well. All right. Is everyone ready? All right. I will start the time now. All right. There's 9 minutes. All right. Before we go through the answers, did you guys find this one harder than the previous one? Yeah? About the same?
Just a little.
Little harder? Okay, yeah. All right. I was curious. Okay. We'll start with 16. So 16 is J. 17 is A. 18 G. 19 A. 20 H. 21 A. 22 J. 23 C. 24 F. 25 B. 26 J. 27 D. 28 H. 29 B. And 30 G. Okay. Now, before we talk about them, I want you guys to notice something. Do you guys normally see the difference? Like, the biggest difference between me and you guys right now is just the speed. So, like, this passage took me maybe like 4.5 minutes. And the reason I'm able to do that is, like, how much I spent time, like, learning these things, and especially my grammar rules, now they're, like, extremely automatic. So, like, the time I got a 36 on the ACT, I had like 15 minutes left on English. That's what I want you guys to get to. That I don't want you to have a bunch of leftover time, but I want you to be able to recognize the patterns fast enough that these answers become automatic. So that's why we're spending so much extra time not just practicing but talking through all these things. Because once you learn how to answer them, these questions are going to start to go a lot faster, and you're going to get hopefully over 90% accuracy by that time. I think we'll be... Right now it looks pretty good. I'm happy with how fast we were doing stuff. So that's good. The first top-heavy question wasn't until 25 here. This one is another kind of new type. I don't know if we've seen this in this class before, but there's a lot of the times they'll give you, and this works both ways. If the writer were to delete this sentence, the essay would primarily lose. Or this word, this sentence, this paragraph. And it works the other way too. If the writer were to add this sentence, or add this word, or add this paragraph, the essay would primarily gain. So you're going to see questions like that, and that's really common. There's almost guaranteed you're going to see 1 or 2 of these on the test. Guaranteed. And the best way to answer this is, there's 2 different ways really. And it depends on how confident you are about this. And if you know right away, if you can see the sentence and you instantly know the value of that sentence to the essay and to the paragraph, don't bother doing this. But if you can't get that right away, perfectly fine. What you should do is read the context, so the sentence before and after, while eliminating that sentence or adding that sentence if the question goes the other way. So in this one, what I would do is it's saying like, okay, you're deleting the preceding sentence. Okay, read the paragraph, but now delete that sentence. Don't read that sentence. And now, how does it feel different? What are you missing? What are you actually losing? And if you do it that way, then normally you'll be able to find the answer like pretty quickly, because by then you'll feel literally what is missing. Or sometimes it's nothing. Maybe you don't lose anything, but this one you definitely lost something. And specifically this one, the effort, because it outlines how many different things there are you have to do. So you can specifically see that how much effort it is, and I think that's what the correct answer says, right? Yeah, how much effort is required to ensure. Yeah, okay. So that's kind of how you would go about answering those. 26 is another organizational question, and this one we're just moving a little underlined thing around, and this is kind of a small, like really niche thing, but try using these little caret marks at where each of the answer choices is, and then just read the sentence wherever each one is. This should take you like 20 seconds and you'll be able to instantly feel. This one is like extremely useful and extremely accurate. You're going to be able to get the answer. If you just read all of the answer choices, you'll get the answer. And this is the best way to put them in the right places, I guess. So this is just an efficient way. But yeah, I'm hoping everybody pretty much got that one. 29 we saw in the previous passage. I think that was question 15 in the other passage. That it's kind of the same. I mean, it's pretty self-explanatory. You just try putting it in all the points. And again, you can look for cues to be helpful, but yeah. And then 30 is another one of those. I guess we haven't seen this one today, but I can guarantee you on every test you're going to see 3, at least, out of the 5 passages. The last question of the passage is going to look like this. Suppose the writer's primary purpose had been to write blah, 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 blah. Did this essay fulfill that purpose? Why or why not? It's going to give you that exact question. And then right away you're going to eliminate yes or no. And then you're going to be able to tell. So here, the primary purpose had been to describe artists. Okay, yeah. So you want to describe the uses of the works of art here that this person does to educate people about an issue that the artist is passionate about. I would say for sure, yeah. That fits in because we've been talking about nature specifically and how this specific artist is using his works of art to push out his message of nature. So yeah, I would say get rid of H and J right away. Now we're picking between reasoning. And if you could have guessed first, then great. But if you couldn't, fine. F here, it describes, saw the local forests were being destroyed and decided to make a sculpture out of it. That's a little bit too specific. I think that's mentioned, like, barely. Versus G, nature-based installation and explains the message. Yeah, so that's a lot better. That's talking about, as a whole, what the purpose of this passage was. Does that make sense? I know that's not super, like, nail-based specific, but we're good with that. Does anyone online have any other questions? You guys? Any others? No? Okay, I'm going to assume that means no. Okay, we have if we rush, we have barely enough time. So I might cut you off a minute earlier this time, but let's try to do one more. All right, I'm sorry. We're so close. We barely have enough time. All right, you guys good? You guys ready? All right, and go ahead. Alright, you guys mostly done? Pretty much? Okay. That was pretty fast. It was like 7 minutes, 7:30. So that's pretty good. Good speed here. We'll read through the answers really fast, and then I want to talk about just a few things before we go. Okay, starting with 31. AHC. JDF. 37 is A. Starting at 38. FDG. CHB. And then 44 is H and 45 is A. Was that too fast? Did everyone get it? Good? Okay. There's some tricky ones in here. 34 is one where you really got to use your pencil. Pay attention to the command here. It wants the best transition of discussion. So that is why J would be the best. Does anyone need more explanation on that, or does that make sense?
For
Mostly.
which question?
Huh? Sorry?
For which question?
34. Did I say that? Sorry. I don't know if I said that. Does that kind of make sense? You really got to use your pencil. Okay. 40 and 41 are both really tricky. But I'm not going to talk too much about 41. 40, were you guys able to get to yes there? Because that one I think is actually really hard to pick if you need to make that adjustment or not. So I think on those ones when you're really unsure, this isn't a have to. This is like a if you know, then do it. But if you really, really don't know if you should make this addition or should not, then it's okay to read the explanations there too. But if you were to narrow it down to yes, then I think it would have been pretty clear to get to G. 45, another one. Really use your pencil. Underline the important stuff. Specifically on this one, the command is different than what you would expect at the end of an essay. It's saying which one concludes the essay by using specific information to complete the contrast between the previous sentence. So forget everything about completing the essay. Focus on complete the contrast between the sentence before. And the only one that does that is A. So that's why, even though it's not the strongest conclusion, that's that. Okay. Sorry we really worked all the way up to the whistle here, but